Hello, speakers. Welcome to another long-awaited near replicant weapon story, sort of literary analysis with a philosophical lens, a philosophical analysis of the weapon stories in near replicant version, blah, blah, blah numbers. It's the remaster. And so we did this for the Nier Automata weapons, sort of mining them for information, for sort of philosophical themes, and we are going to be approaching these weapon stories in much the same way, but more cognizant of the messages of the original Nier Replicant than as we did with Nier Automata, thinking about existentialist themes for Nier Automata weapon stories. Now, a lot of these are going to be the same weapons and the same stories, and wherever there is repetition, if I analyze it in a different way, if I'm critiquing it in a different way, chalk it up to the fluidity of the human spirit. I'm not going to be exactly identical to who I was or what I was thinking before when I was reading through these last time. We're probably going to do at least 2 or 3 per video. But before I actually want to get into it, I want to give a little shorthand of my original Nier Replicant philosophical analysis, which is being remade and will come out as a new thing very soon. But those original 4 videos were so long ago and very rough to watch. So I'm just going to give a Cliff Notes version of what the philosophy of Nier Replicant is. So to say it shortly, the philosophy of Nier Replicant is that language begets power. Power creates control, but control isn't the person who holds the power having control over the situation. It is that power itself is controlling, that it limits your options as an individual wielding power to that which the power is designed to do. And so it is a limiting thing. It controls you just as much as your exercise of power controls and limits the freedom of others. And then finally, that humanity, the human culture, and our being is defined by our capacity to create language, thus creating a cycle in which our nature results in the limitations of our freedom and the ultimate oppression of ourselves when choosing to exercise power, as opposed to making some other choice, making the choice to not exercise power. So that's the very short, that's exactly what it is, and I'm not defending it. I'm not defending the position at all. The actual analysis video will go into all of the aspects of this game that establishes that core philosophical message. And for these videos, we're just going to read through the weapon stories and then pontificate a little bit after we're finished reading through them as to what they could mean. So we're going to start with the short swords. We're going to go straight in order, and this begins with the nameless blade. Nanashi no Ken. Alright. Smash, 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 smash. Sweat rolls down the faces of hard Scrabble men as they chip away at iron stone, their cheerful singing echoing through the mine. We are workers, workers in the mine, dirty from tip to toe. Again today we search for iron with all our might. Smash, 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 smash. Foom, 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 foom. The sound of women stomping on bellows in the mill. The sound of iron being gathered from the scorched sands. We are workers, workers in the mill, workers who send wind. Today we stomp the bellows again with all our might. Whom, 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 whom. Clang, 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 clang. The sound of swordsmiths wielding hammers at their forges. The ringing of such transformative blows is stunning indeed. We are swordsmiths. Swordsmiths who bring blades to life, lords of steel. Clang, 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 clang. Rip, 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 rip. The sound of flesh being rent on the battlefield. The sound of killing enemies, killing someone, killing humans. Someone help me, it hurts. It hurts so much. Help me, mommy. Rip, 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 rip. So Nameless Blade, I think the story of this, given that it's the original weapon that you wield when the game begins, is attempting to be very encompassing in a poetic way of that philosophical theme of the game. There is complete repetition, constant repetition of the onomatopoeia in order to evoke a poetic feeling of endlessness and cycles that feed into each other. Each of these sections are about people who are contributing to the creation of increased power through the creation of weapons. And it is that final stanza that shows that the weapon itself is dictated for one exact purpose. It is a tool made for one end. So by giving yourself more power, by using the tool, you have limited your options to only that which the tool can do, and thus reduced your freedom, reduced it to violence, to killing. And that is your option. You are free to only do that one thing, so you are not free to do anything else. Just as the swordsmiths are only free to make the blade, that's their power. The mill workers who are smelting the iron, that's their power, that's their duty. They can only smelt the iron. And the miners, they can only mine the ore from the ground. That's their power, that's their only option. Same thing for each stanza from different perspectives, leading to the same ultimate violent end. Next is Lily Leaf Sword. I love him with all my heart, as he does me. When we cross paths outdoors, he sends signals with his eyes that only I can understand. He treasures my gifts so much, he keeps them locked away in a safe. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better lover. I can't believe this. My best friend deceived the love of my life and stole him from me. One moment he was there, and the next he was gone. All that remains are some of my gifts, which are scattered across his empty room. Everything else of value has been sold at the village marketplace. This will not stand. He hasn't abandoned me, he's just being tricked by that woman. I know he still has feelings for me. He must. I'm far more beautiful than she is, and he knows it. Oh yes, he knows. But I must make him see the truth, and quickly. I have to get her away from him. I have to kill her. Kill. Hurry up and kill. Consumed by her madness, the woman slaughtered the young husband and wife, hacking them with such force that the blade of her sword warped. The woman then went into hiding, leaving behind only clumps of unrecognizable meat and a sword with a horribly bent blade. But no matter how many smiths attempted to repair the sword, it never again retained its original state. So, this one is essentially about a miscommunication, right? She thought she had a completely devoted lover, and she based it in the fact that she had some sort of silent, unknown, esoteric communication with him through eye signals, and that she was giving him gifts, which he kept safe, was her way of confirming it. All non-verbal actions, only to see that the man has a different relationship, and the change causes her to take up a weapon and act violently because of the misunderstanding. She thus limited her options her options were limited by her lack of understanding, by the fact that she couldn't accurately communicate through language with the supposed lover. We can't even be sure that the woman is telling the truth about her relationship with the man because she's an unreliable narrator. She's the one committing a violent act of slaughter and is thus giving us the justification. As for the sword being bent out of shape, I believe this sort of sword is a real thing. I keep saying Khopesh because I think Khopeshes are really cool looking swords, but it has the sort of front extended bit at the end, which is not too uncommon for certain eras of sword making, certain cultures, certain regions. I'm not an expert. Go over to one of the sword people on YouTube and not too long. It won't take too long to find a sword of this shape. This is actually a fairly realistic sword shape. We're going to be getting out of realistic swords almost immediately. But hey, video games, it's fun. Now this one, Nirvana dagger, is actually based on the Chris dagger, if it weren't, giant. Alright, but let's read it. The girl had been betrothed to a local lord on the day of her birth. As she grew, her days were taken up studying proper bridal technique, while her evenings were spent staring out her bedroom window and offering prayers to her betrothed to the night sky, for her betrothed to the night sky. O my lord, if only you would come to me but a single day sooner. Her home was occupied by several other girls her age. Each one shared the same betrothed, and spent her days studying bridal techniques, and her evenings praying to the night sky. O my lord, if you would only come to me but a single day sooner. One day, a quarrel broke out as the girls argued that only the greatest among them could become their lord's betrothed. None would yield an inch, each asserting only they alone could possibly satisfy him. Seeing this, their caretaker said in a kind voice, Worry not, girls. Each and every one of you shall surely become bride to our Lord. Hearing this, every face lit up in an expression of pure joy. On the day they were to be married, the girls were brought to a place of cobbled stone they could see from the window of their home. A single dagger was then placed before them, and the girls were told they needed to end their life here and now if they wished to meet their betrothed. Upon hearing this news, the girls scrambled to seize the dagger from one another, plunging it into their chest the moment they held it. Years later, the temple named the Betrothed was built on the spot where the girls took their own life. So, this is like a cult sacrifice story, right? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything of language being presented in this story, but there definitely is a narrative of power, an imbalance of power with whatever social structures are, for one, keeping these women locked up and not allowed to actually go out and live any sort of life. They're being kept waiting for their betrothed, and it's done to a degree that they are willing to believe this falsity or this perhaps religious narrative being driven home by whatever person is giving them this direction to take their own lives. And the fact that a temple is erected on the site, and that apparently they needed the blood sacrifice to build the temple and give it this name, suggests that there is a larger social aspect to the story that isn't just like a small side cult that is sort of separate or distinct from a greater society. It's going for a bit of an older aesthetic, an older feeling. So it's really more of on the aspect of the philosophy that is about the power resulting in a tragic end. The culture held a power over the women, and the women exercised that power in taking their own life. It's pretty rough. Most of these stories are going to be sad. if you haven't noticed, this is a Nier game. Most of these stories are going to be really sad. They're going to be tragic. But there's the first three weapons. I think this was a great little video to go up as our first, and look forward to all the rest of them. See you next time. Stay true.